Um, Mike, as chairman of the Board of Governors at Thurrock Adult Community College, where are your concerns regarding the cuts that are coming up at Thurrock Council?
Well, our concerns are around commissioning the ACL provision in Thurrock. Primarily, the Thurrock Adult Community College has provided that service on behalf of the authority, and the college has been delegated that budget, and the governors are delegated responsibility to run the college, and that is a local community college. Our concerns are, we know everybody's facing cuts, we know that in all walks of life, and we're not immune to them. We understand that fully. What we don't necessarily understand is why it's being commissioned when you have adult provision that is so based in the community and does such a good job. Our fear is that if it's commissioned and it goes out to tender and other larger providers may come in and win the tender, it takes away the local flavour of the college. It perhaps takes away local jobs. It doesn't really provide a setting where we feel will be as good in the heart of the community.
It's the Adult Community College, and I don't mean to be insulting, but sometimes it appears like one stepping back on time with traditional courses. Do you think that might be part of the college's problem, so to speak?
I think we've done a lot in the past. You're going into what was an old school building, no doubt about it, and anyone who knows the history of the area will know the school and will know how much work was put into it to bring that into modern learning facilities. 4.5 million was spent on doing the front of the building and putting a lot more facilities in there. So we think the Victorian building, but it's got all the modern facilities and access. The courses, there's such a mixture of courses in there. So more and more adult education has gone away from traditionally basket weaving, flower arranging, but it's easy to say, well, what value has that in the modern world? But that is what people like to do, to meet other people and to learn a new skill. And it's not necessarily about getting a certificate. It's about camaraderie, meeting other like-minded people, doing something in the evening. But the courses aren't based around that. A lot of our courses are family learning, family neighbourhood learning. Is if you can, how special is it to a young child who's going to school and perhaps not engaging fully with learning, where mum or dad comes over and says, look, I've got a certificate for doing my maths. That's breaking the cycle. Generations of people who don't engage with formal learning. Well, mum's doing it, so perhaps the child will do it. So we do a lot of work in the community.
And it does seem to have been the first steps in in education for a lot of the new families coming into the borough, including the Nepalese. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, we do a lot of work on English language courses. We do a lot of work that gives people skills, not only to fit into our community and work with us. It also means that they bring skills to the workplace. Adult education is about skilling up for the workplace, skilling up for new horizons, old and new generations. Majority of our learners are of working age, so it isn't a place necessarily, although they're very, very welcome, where the over 60s go. I think about 20% of our intake is over 60s. So the adult, we call it the Adult Community College, and the community bit is in the title for that very reason. It is right at the heart of the community.
Of course, a cynic might stand at the roundabout there and look across and see the new recreation ground being demolished and preparing at some stage for possibly houses and flats, and one might then say, what a fantastic piece of ground the Thurrock Adult Community College there is in Richmond Road for possibly the same. Has that ever come up in discussions, do you know?
Not as far as I'm aware. That, yeah, as I said before, that is an old Victorian school that the previous principal basically took on as virtually a derelict and built it up into what it is today. And that's got a long tradition there of providing services. Not only there, but I think we're, something like 43 venues throughout Thurrock where we also deliver services. So it isn't about necessarily Richmond Road. And I'm sure, if there was a new £1 million or £90 million campus, that the adult college would be part of that. Of course, it won't necessarily be if it's commissioned, someone from outside the borough comes in, takes over the provision. I'm just worried about the flavour of Thurrock. We've seen that happen in other areas where commissioning takes away the little bit of the local flavour from what people are doing. These contracts often go to large organisations that have economies of scale, etc., etc. We know that, and do things for a price. But what is the price the community is prepared to pay for that?
Okay, so I know the Principal, Sharon Walsh, is concerned. I know you're concerned. Who else is concerned?
Well, obviously, many of our learners are concerned about what's going on, and there is a petition that's been signed by hundreds of people that's going to local councillors, not just learners but people from all over the borough. There's over, I think we employ over 100 people, on various contracts to deliver all these types of learning. There's a lot of people involved in delivering this type of learning, whether it's full-time, part-time, as lecturers, curriculum managers. So, and over 4,000 learners. So we're not talking about a small organisation with big impacts right across the borough.
This must be difficult, and this is a question for them, I guess. It must be difficult for people like Diana Hale, the portfolio holder, and John Kent, who have been closely associated with the college for years, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Former principal and former chair. I'm sure they'll do what's right for the people of Thurrock. They know the history, obviously. They've both been heavily involved with the college. They know all the history. They know all the achievements. They know, the excellent Ofsted results, the hard work that went into achieving all those successes. So they have to do, in their current positions, what they need to do, and I'm sure they'll make the best decision for everybody concerned.